Okay, let's get started let's continue with the yin yang symptoms, quiz 2. We have with us Sir Mark and Sir Dennis from Cebu, Philippines. Good evening, everyone. Okay, which of the following best exemplifies a yin dominant condition in the context of organ function?
Hypertrophy of the prostate gland with poor bladder function.
In the yin yang framework, which pair correctly matches the physical state of matter with its symbolic representation?
Burning heat and light, yang solid
Table
yin.
yin. Which symptom pattern would most likely be classified as a yang dominant disease? Which of the four?
And worsen at rest.
Hip pain that increases with activity, so that's very yang dominant, no? Contracting and dispersing movements. Which of the following clinical signs belongs to the contracting category?
Cramp and muscle
tension in cold weather.
In the context of the yin-yang symbolism, which of the following statements about heaven and earth is correct?
Heaven represents rarefied immaterial states. Earth represents dense material states.
Which of the following best illustrates the principle of mutual consuming of yin and yang?
Interdependence of expansion yang and contraction yin.
Which clinical presentation indicates a deficiency of yin in the skin?
Yin trigger skin.
Fragile skin.
The categorization of frequent and urgent stools.
Stance function quantification.
Which clinical presentation indicates deficiency of yin in the skin?
Thin, fragile skin.
The categorization of frequent and urgent stools, LI function increases, exemplifies which yin-yang diagnostic principle?
Substance function quantification.
Which of the following is described as a yang dominant respiratory condition?
Seasonal asthma with dry cough worsened by pollen.
Which of the following weather-related symptom patterns aligns with a yin dominant disease?
Symptom.
Answer. Yin dominant. Answer. Yeah, what's the answer?
Gani, dako nang iro.
Again.
Okay, let's continue.
Okay, Doc.
I think this is where we left off. Number 10, no?
11.
Number 11. Descending links with which yin characteristic?
Contraction and materialization.
Which organ's hypoactivity is exemplified by bradycardia?
Heart.
Which of the following best captures the intertransformation aspect of yin-yang relationship?
Yin changing into yang and vice versa.
In the diagnostic schema, an increase in mucus is associated with which yin-yang shift?
Lang yin.
Yeah, increased lung yin, no? So if you have
Lang yin.
Yeah, lung yin is increased. Which symptom timing pattern would classify a disease as night-day yin dominant? Yin dominant.
Symptom starts in evening, worsen through night, improve in daytime.
Descending, ascending manifestations. Which clinical example fits the ascending category?
Hot flashes and neck
Hot flashes and neck tension.
Which of the following best illustrates the principle that nothing is totally yin or totally yang?
The Taiji.
The Taiji symbol containing both black and white spots.
Which of the following is an example of a contracted or hunched appearance?
Forward head
Forward head
posture
posture
with
with
rounded shoulders.
Which symptom pattern would indicate a descending yin phenomenon?
edema that starts in the perineum and spreads to the legs.
Which of the following best exemplifies ascending manifestation of a disease?
Hot flashes localized in the neck and head.
Which of the following best describes transformation of matter when a table is burned?
Dense
Yin.
yin and rarefied yang form.
Rarefied yang to dense yin form. Which of the following clinical signs will be classified under wet yin?
Mucus excess and edema.
Which of the following examples illustrates interdependence of climatic factors with yin-yang symptom expression?
Humid weather improving a yin dominant cough.
Wait lang. I think cold weather aggravate. Okay. In the description of, I think there's something wrong, no? Illustrates that interdependence siya. In the description of contracting dispersing, which phenomenon represents a dispersing or yang movement?
Sweating.
Which of the following best describes effect of excessive stress and insufficient sleep on the body's yin-yang balance? La.
Promotes yang dominant tachycardia.
Tachycardia. Which of the following
Tachycardia.
illustrates a descending ascending symptom that begins in the perineum and later appears in the head?
Edema of the legs followed by facial swelling.
Which organ's hyperfunction is indicated by frequent and urgent stools?
Large intestine.
Large intestine.
Which of the following best captures the relationship between expansion and rising?
Expansion corresponds to upward movement.
Which condition is described as improving slowly over the day, indicating a yin dominant disease?
Hip osteoarthritis with morning stiffness.
Which of the following correctly matches the yin-yang pair with its associated climatic influence on symptoms?
Yin worsens in humid weather, yang worsens on dry weather.
Which of the following is an example of a hypofunction related to yin?
Bradycardia.
Bradycardia. Which symptom pattern aligns with a yang dominant cough according to the clinical descriptions?
Dry cough worsening with pollen exposure.
Yin is transformed into material life. Which of the following physiological processes best embodies this transformation?
Synthesis of
collagen fiber in skin.
Which of the following best illustrates the opposition aspect of yin-yang?
Yin represents dense matter while yang represents rare field energy.
Which of the following clinical presentations will be categorized as a dry weather, worsening, or yang condition? Answer. Sir Mark. What is the answer?
Skin brittleness in dry
climate. In dry climate.
Yes. In the dietary example, which comparison correctly illustrates a relative...
Skin brittleness in dry climate.
Yeah. In the dietary example, which comparison correctly illustrates a relative yin-yang relationship?
Chicken is yin compared to lamb.
Barcelona's climate is yang relative to Stockholm. What logical principle does this exemplify? Hello.
Relativistic
Relativistic comparison. Okay.
Comparison.
Which of the following is that an example?
Comparison.
Which of the
Number
following is
two.
that an example of interdependence of yin and yang?
Energy without
Energy
matter.
without matter.
Energy without matter.
The Taoist quote, in order to
Number
contract,
two.
it is necessary first to
Number
expand,
2,
illustrates which principle?
The necessity of preemptive
the
action
necessity
in
of
achieving balance.
preemptive action.
Which imbalanced state is characterized by yin being primary and consuming yang?
Number one.
Yin is primary, so it consumes the yang. Unsa man answer? Yes. Okay, number 40. Which imbalanced state is characterized by yin being primary and consuming yang?
Predominance of yin.
Yes. Which of the following pairs exemplifies a yin-yang transformation?
Summer to
Summer to
winter.
winter.
Why is the human body's temperature described as a dynamic balance rather than a static 50-50 proportion?
Because the body actively regulates temperature through opposing physiological mechanisms.
Which statement best captures the meaning of excess of yin consumes yang?
Yin overtakes yang, turning into yin.
Nothing is totally yin or totally yang. Which philosophical doctrine does this most closely parallel?
Heraclitus doctrine that consists flux.
Constant flux. Which of the following best illustrates weakness of yin?
A
A
person
person
who
who feels
feels
energetically
energetically
exhausted despite
exhausted
a
despite
warm environment.
warm environment.
Yeah, mahina ang yin niya. If a climate is described as yin relative to Barcelona but yang relative to Algiers, what can be inferred about Barcelona's and Algiers' climates?
Barcelona is hotter than the
Barcelona is
subject
hotter
climate.
than the specific subclimate. Algiers is colder
Which
than the subject climate.
Which concept from the passage most directly supports the modern medical idea of homeostasis?
dynamic balance of opposing forces.
That's what we call by homeostasis.
Yes.
Which of the following best exemplifies the mutual consuming of yin and yang?
The night giving way to day, then being replaced by night again.
Why might heat be associated with yang while cold is associated with yin?
Because heat is considered an active, expansive force, and cold is passive, contractive one.
Which scenario would illustrate preponderance of yang?
A sauna that becomes unbearably hot, causing participants to feel weak.
Wow, thank you very much, everyone. You did all
Wait,
you all did
thank
good.
you.
Okay.